This morning I went on a walk with my family around Wildwood Park. It's a nature reserve in Harrisburg, and it was so beautiful. The entire pond was covered with blooming lotus flowers, and there were little frogs and mushrooms and little berries and everything along the side of the path for us to see. I was going through, I was taking pictures, I was taking videos, I was feeling really inspired, and I was like, wow, this walk, this like little nature loop would make a great sketchbook like series. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do one better. I'm gonna make my own sketchbook. So this is gonna be an experiment. I've never made my own sketchbook before. You know, I don't think I've bound a book before. So I'm coming into this blind. But I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna make my own accordion sketchbook. Those are the kind that don't have a binding down the back, and so you can open them up like an accordion. And they're really cool for like spreads or series of images. And I don't know why I thought of this, I just thought it would be cool. And so I'm gonna make one. So this video will be all about that process of what it's like making a sketchbook from scratch. And I'll probably include things along the way like, this didn't work, don't do this, if you decide you want to make your own, or hey, this worked really well, try this. And I'm really excited. I want all of the art inside to be based on things that I saw that day on that walk. And I'm gonna try to label stuff as much as possible. I'm gonna go through and do research, see if I can find the names of everything, because I know a good portion of what I saw along the trail, but I wouldn't say I know everything. And this is a learning opportunity. My goal for my accordion sketchbook was to capture what it felt like to be on that morning walk at Wildwood. I wanted to share the joy of being present in the moment and noticing things that would otherwise go undiscovered. I knew from the start that I wanted to label everything I drew. As a curious person, learning the names of plants and animals around me is another way that I engage with my environment. I chose colored pencils as my medium for their bright colors and playful energy. After I gathered my reference photos, I got to work trying different ways to build the sketchbook itself. I made multiple test builds, and eventually landed on this design. This design uses two 11 by 14 inch sheets of drawing paper, two 8 by 10 inch sheets of backboard, a ruler, a pencil, scissors, an exacto knife, Mod Podge, a paintbrush, cotton fabric, and a heavy book. I'll also put the list of materials needed in the description, and feel free to pause the video if you need more time at a certain step. Halfway through this project, I had an opportunity to get back out into nature with another sketchbook. My husband, Luke, and I went on a single-night backpacking trip along the Appalachian Trail. One of my goals while out there was to verbalize my thoughts and feelings about how being in nature affects my creative process. I kept my sketchbook at the top of my pack along with my 3 favorite pens and headed out into the woods. Spending time outside helps me put my life into perspective. When you create a routine for yourself and grow comfortable in it, sometimes that can unintentionally cultivate a sense of boredom. There's the path, right there. Even if you're working very hard, if you feel like nothing is changing from your efforts, it's easy to become discouraged and dissatisfied. The importance of feeling like I achieved something is integral to maintaining good mental health. So I set goals for myself with a very clear end result. In the context of this hike, my goal was to climb that mountain. I found the first blackberry of the season, and we're gonna do a taste test. A little sour. At camp, I decided to do one of my favorite sketchbook exercises. I made boxes of various shapes on a page as if I were making a comic book, and then wandered around to find compositions. When I found myself out in the middle of nowhere with very little, I was reminded that fancy art supplies aren't the only thing needed to make good art. There's a lot of bugs. There's so many. Man, if I was like a frog or something, this would be heaven. A good creator adapts to what's in front of them and finds ways to make what they already have interesting. Sometimes having limitless options of media can hinder the creation process more than help it. Another goal I set for myself, both during the hike and off the trail, was to be present in the moment I was living, even if it wasn't always pleasant. I found nature to be a reliable method of grounding myself. When I visit a new place, I try to look for things I wouldn't have noticed if I wasn't paying attention. When I practice making these observations, I place myself firmly in the present. Are you ready to get back at it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Woo!
It's also nice to just take a second in camp to take a breath after all the work is done of packing up.
That's true.
Just like, I don't have to do anything.
I don't have to do
I
anything.
could stay here.
In my last video, I talked about how I represent what I find special about the world through my art. I came back to my project after the backpacking trip reminded of that desire and re-inspired to capture that morning walk at Wildwood within the pages of my Accordion Sketchbook. So I have my finished sketchbook here. It's all ready to go and dry, and I haven't actually taken a look inside yet. I wanted to do that together. So let's take a look. Oh, that looks so cool. Check that out. I like that. It looks like the Mod Podge is doing a really good job. It looks very thoroughly stuck together. I'm not worried that that will fall apart. Nice. This looks great. Awesome. Okay, let's do the accordion stretch and see how that looks. That's pretty cool. I like that. I think I only have one design note as far as like how this sketchbook is assembled. So when I put this together and I was folding the pages, part of that meant that some of the pages have this seam on the top, and that means that there's like this kind of like open area on the edges of some pages. And I think next time, instead of leaving those open, I will Mod Podge them together so that like my finger doesn't get caught in there and rip a page. That feels like it could potentially be a problem. But I don't want to do that to this sketchbook because it's already assembled. And if for some reason like my Mod Podge job doesn't work great and it's like off, I could ruin the whole book. Whereas if I did that step earlier in the assembly process, if I for some reason messed it up, I could just start that section over instead of starting the whole thing over. So that's a note for next time. I feel like this is a really cool idea, having a series within an accordion sketchbook, because you can like lay it all out and look at it all at once. And you know, I'm thinking of other series that I'd like to, like fall is coming, maybe I want to do like a fall leaf sketchbook and you lay them out and they're all leaves and like watercolor or colored pencil, or like here are all the cafes that I visit around Harrisburg, you know, that kind of thing. And I hope that this inspired you to go out there and go investigate, find cool nature spots around your town and just interact with them. Spend time in nature, spend time with yourself and reflect. And also make cool art. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe so you can see what I make for you next time.